Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Final Space, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
April Collins.
Hi there.
And Alex Bonilla.
Hey.
Yes, Final Space, another week of... where's the mooncake, though?
There is no mooncake in this episode.
Yeah.
Is mooncake actually not in the episode?
He's not in the episode, it's true.
I don't believe he does a single chukity in this episode.
Yeah, I don't remember any chukities, but is he at least on screen?
He might be on screen, like when they do like the whole gang on the ship, but he doesn't make a noise.
Was that actually your thinking behind not doing the chukity, was to make a point?
Yeah, like he's not... he has gone slowly from like being a main character of the show to that literally not even making a noise in an episode.
They're definitely struggling to juggle all the characters, but we have a big eventful episode to talk about.
Yeah, there's more important things than mooncake today.
The Closer You Get episode, I think 9 of season 2 of Final Space, aired on Adult Swim on Monday night. We're here Wednesday night to talk about this episode, and we talk Final Space every week here at the Overly Animated Podcast. Find us at overlyanimated.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes by searching Final Space Overly Animated on your podcasting app, or YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. Big spoilers for this episode. We're really into the plot stuff now this season, so make sure you have seen The Closer You Get. Michelle, what are your thoughts on this big episode of Final Space?
Oh my god, I was gonna say, oh, this is terrible. I was gonna say, like, with Avocado's character, I was feeling a lot of whiplash, but he literally gets whipped in this episode.
Hey.
So, but it's just like, okay, so, like, we've accepted he was dead. Last episode, they went to the past, and then his memory got wiped, and now he's evil, and maybe he'll die from that gunshot, like...
He could be dead again, yeah.
Yeah, and why do we have, like, 3 villains now? We have him, we have evil possessed Avocado, we have maybe Lord Commander, and then we have that guy from episode 2.
He's not come back. I don't think he counts.
The guy, they all could come back. Like, they keep acting like they're going to show back up, so it's like, why do we keep adding more villains?
I think we have Invictus. Yeah. That's Invictus possessing Avocados. That's the main villain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised that Avocado's just gone now. He was only there for 2 episodes, and he's already gone again. And I feel like Lil Kato didn't progress really anywhere new in those 2 episodes in terms of his relationship with his dad. So, okay, sure. Very little Kevin, but, you know, that's fine. I'm sure they're saving all the good stuff for the finale.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm kind of I'm a little confused where Quinn is exactly, because if she's in this dimension where there's just a million dead Garys from different timelines, how is she still alive? Like, is she eating anything? Can she breathe there? Like, how is she still alive? Everyone else in that dimension seems to be dead. Like, what's keeping her together?
Yeah, these are good questions we can get to at the end of these. Are end of podcast questions, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Tribore stuff was like they did a room reference. I'm so happy. And I forgot Shannon was even a character in the first season, but she totally was. And she got to go on a date with him, sort of. And we learned that he changes gender every 6 months. And that's interesting. So he can be in love with himself and have that technically be 2 versions of himself. But, I mean... I don't know. I didn't dislike this episode, but I'm just kind of like, wow, this is okay. All right. Let's see where we go next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle, I don't know how to describe that emotion, but that's...
I don't either.
Okay, we'll figure...
We don't need to put labels on the confusion of our co-hosts.
Okay. We don't have to. That's true. We'll see if we can dissect these feelings later on. But April, how are you feeling about this episode of Final Space?
Okay, so this episode was very creepy.
Yes.
Creepy Gary horrified me, and I, no joke, had a nightmare about it.
Did you tell us about the nightmare? That's the most important part.
Well, I was being attacked by possessed Gary, and I was like, this face is haunting. Also, that guy Phil was creepy looking, too.
Yeah.
Like, this episode... Yeah, so there's a lot of creepiness in this episode. I don't think Avocado is dead. He or Invictus inside of Avocado. Yeah. But I guess Invictus is our real villain, so that's kind of nice to know, like, who our biggest opposing forces. Because we've kind of been like, who is it? What are we doing? So now we know. I wondered if like that was actually Quinn or if it was like a fabrication to kind of lure them to, so that Invictus could like possess people, right? So that was kind of, I guess, like one of my thought processes. But yeah, like overall, I thought, like, I enjoyed this episode despite how unsettling it was for me. But yeah.
Okay. You liked it despite giving you nightmares. I think that's a success. Yeah. Gave you nightmares.
I think so too. Like, for something to like chill me so deeply.
Nice.
That's kind of like enjoyable.
Did you get the nightmare the night you watched it, like Monday night, the night you watched it live?
Yes.
Okay. That's the downside to watching a show like at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like 10:30 for me, so.
Okay, that's more reasonable. 11:30, that's rough, but we've talked
for
about
you
that.
guys, not for me.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Alex, what are your thoughts on this episode?
I will say that the creepiness is one of the strongest parts of this episode. I love whenever Final Space does this kind of more out there imagery than they usually do, like similar to the Arachne text. So like it's got a similar vibe going on of just like otherworldliness, and they get to flex their muscles there, and I really enjoy, like, you know, the corpse tree and the design of Phil. So like all that is really strong. Avocado stuff, I have no idea really what to think, because last week we kind of went over what do we do if Avocado has come back just to recover his memory and then die again. And we're kind of there. Like, he got his memory back, sort of, but just in time to get possessed. Now he's a vessel. And so the Avocado we know still isn't really back. So it's we kind of got like left in a little bit of a limbo there. I'll say that the moment and the climax of the episode is still pretty strong. Like seeing little Kato have to shoot his dad, even though it's not really his dad, and you know, like it still hurts a little bit. But like again, it's just like it's surrounded by all this meta stuff of like, why are we bringing Avocado back in the first place? That doesn't seem to have really been cleared up yet. So that kind of blurs it a little bit for me. But I mean, again, like this is an episode that feels very dense in terms of like all the stuff it wants to do and the stuff it wants to get across. And I appreciate that they're going for it every time. And yeah, and Tribore is like the B plot, and I need to hear what you guys think about it, because that's another situation. It's like I'm very confused.
I think we're all going to be confused about that, but
He had a lot of time devoted to him this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I love seeing the Tribore B plot, but yeah, this is a good episode. I like the closer you get. Last week's was good. This I think I had a similar reaction to you guys. It's like interesting to see what we're gonna do with Avocado, and I think like we avoid the biggest fear you guys had last week, which is that Avocado just recovers his memories and then is just like, what was the point of killing him and bringing him back for like at least like killing him at least is like avoiding the convenient resurrection with no consequence. And I don't know, like this is an interesting thing, I guess, we're doing, and we're immediately addressing this. So I'm interested in what we're doing, but it was all like, oh, he's dead again. That was my reaction. I assume we're not going to see him again next episode. I also assume he isn't actually dead. But yeah, this episode, it's a lot. There's a lot of different things happening. I think like the first 8 minutes of the episode aren't that exciting, but then it really kicks it into gear. The strongest part of the episode is the dark stuff, the creepy stuff. Once Gary goes into the dimensional window portal, I think everything there is really fantastic. And then at the end, it's really fast and a lot of plot things, and it is very affecting. I think they're cashing in on a lot of excellent Little Kato character work we've done. I don't necessarily disagree that what we're doing with Avocado and Little Kato isn't bringing anything new to the table. I just think it's more of this good father-son drama dynamic like that the season's been digging into. I think the little Kato stuff continues to be the strongest of the season. This is the payoff to episode 4 and some other stuff we've done, and I think it's really good. The Tribore stuff was, at first it was like infuriated me, and then on second viewing it didn't infuriate me as much, so I don't know. We'll talk about it, but, the show is a lot. I'll say now, I think this episode and last episode really like hammer home for me one of the two biggest problems of the season, which is that this season, every episode almost, it introduces a new mythology element and then dramatizes it in the same episode. I think this season's suffering from a lack of more serialization, which I think like Olin knows and like talked about, that they got a lot of pushback from the network on not being more wanting them to not be serialized. But, like this episode, it's like Gary is like seriously hurt from, Invictus, like possessing Avocato and Gary from this dimension window. All of that is like new, and it's like I have no time to digest what any of this means. Like the show just keeps adding stuff on. Last week, the time like that you can go back in time and save people, and then immediately we bring Avocato back. Like it's too much for me. I think like I have no sense of what the show's mythology is because we just keep adding stuff on and then doing stuff with it. I would like more setup, and then you later in the season you kind of play on. There wasn't really the setup part of this, so this is I think kind of been a consistent thing. I hope that the last few episodes of the season we can dig into some things we've already presented more, but I don't know. Like at least now we have Invictus in play, and that could be pretty exciting. But yeah, I don't, the season, I like that the season's kicked in a gear and we have some interesting things in play to talk about. I guess we should start with, is Gary like dying? Is Avocato dead?
No, he's not dying.
He's in like a space sci-fi recovery tube. I don't think he's fine. I think
I bet by next episode he's gonna be pretty okay. He's at least gonna be fine enough to fight something. I mean, is that really a stretch?
What do you mean?
I mean, he's probably gonna have to fight.
Who are we fighting? What are we fighting?
No.
Clarence and Hugh fight for the ship, and Gary's unable to, intervene. I don't know.
Don't they still need any dimensional keys? I feel like they don't have all of them yet.
Do we really care about the dimensional keys anymore?
The season has cared about it way longer than we expected, I think. So yeah, I don't know. Gary, I assume will be. What if the show killed off Gary? That'd be pretty bold.
I mean, that'd be cool, but they won't.
Back. I mean,
then they just bring him back later, though.
A good stake to be like, you can't change the past, but apparently you can't change the past, and it's worse now. So they could absolutely bring Gary back if he died.
I could see them. I like he's in like Little Kato puts him in this tube and puts the Avocado's helmet on top. I assume Gary's not just going to be recovered next episode. Like this will take at least a few episodes to sort out.
At least one episode.
Although the show's moving so fast that
it's moving so fast. So like he might be fine by the end of the episode. Like Avocado recovered like most of his memory in one episode, but he hadn't in like the 3 months that they've been flying around looking for current Gary. I mean, what are the chances of that?
That's true. But I don't know. Yeah. It's a show. It's not a good reason. But.
Again, it's not a good reason. Because, again, he remembers Lil Kato literally, 3 minutes before he gets possessed.
Yeah, I would say, the emotional stress is, triggering his memories. And they were just, flying around doing nothing before. And now, big things are happening. And that's, triggering stuff for him. I guess that would be my explanation, but I don't know. Yeah, so Avocato, he's so we think Gary will be fine, I guess. Avocado's do we all think he's not dead now?
I don't think he's
not
dead.
No.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet.
But what if the conclusion is he gets unpossessed and he's slowly dying from the wound shot, and Lil Kato's cradling his head in his hands. He's like, son, now I can say all the stuff I couldn't say when I got killed the first time, and I'm proud of you, and you'll do great. And he gets his closure, and that's the whole point of bringing his character back. That's honestly what I'm thinking they're gonna do. Because, again, the cast is too freaking full. We cannot have Avocato. We're gonna have to get rid of at least 3 more people for this to make sense. And I think
tell me who's dying. Who else is dying then, Michelle, for getting rid of more people?
Maybe Clarence?
That'd be
maybe
good.
Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want Fox.
Fox can't go Fox. He's not a
maybe
thing yet.
you, and maybe Mooncake.
Oh
Okay.
no!
Oh no.
They haven't been in the show that much, so they're the easiest.
I just want Michelle to keep listing characters until she lists everyone except for Kevin.
I will never list Kevin.
Kevin is an immortal.
He basically is. I mean, he
Yeah.
died at one point.
He's so lucky.
So this black stuff spills out of Avocato, I feel like, and then he gets sucked into the ground. Isn't that what happens? Yeah. Who knows what's happening there?
But I mean, he's not dead.
He's probably not dead.
He's
I think it's in play that like Avocado's soul spilled out of his body, and now his body is totally like a vessel for Invictus, and maybe they can recover his soul and stick it in something else. Something like that.
No! He has to die again, so little Kyle.
Well, he'll still die again, probably. It's fine.
He has to die again.
He has to. Lil Kato and Avocado are also kind of too similar. I don't think you can have both, because Lil Kato's the replacement for Avocado for Gary. So it's gotta be one or the other. And we have spent, honestly, more time watching Lil Kato bond with Gary than Avocado ever did. Don't at me, it's true. So Avocado has to be the one to die. We're more invested in Lil Kato now.
Or we just do something else with Avocado, which is why I liked possessing him and killing him, but like not really killing him this episode. Like I think, like I said, I think this like avoids like the worst thing to do, which is just have him be back and be boring, and like we're doing stuff. So I'm interested to see what we're doing here.
I think he's just gonna remain possessed and then I don't know, maybe like his body will get dragged back into Final Space or something like that whenever they defeat Invictus.
Yeah, we can always write characters off for an entire season, like we're doing with Quinn and Lord Commander. So we can, that's fine. I think that's probably a smart move if Avocado is just like the vehicle for our villain, because it's cool, it's effective to see this fan favorite character, and you can sound like him, and like that. I think that's like an interesting thing to do. Because
well, and it creates drama.
Yeah,
too.
It creates a lot of drama because then they're like fighting someone they love. And Invictus is like this ephemeral being, so this is the way to humanize him, I guess. I could see us. Yeah, I think he's going to probably stay in Avocado. Throughout the course of the episode, Avocado's like recovering his memories, and Little Cato's upset that he
remembers everything but him.
Yeah, right. I could see how that'd be upsetting. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It was still kind of funny though. Like,
no.
Like it was heartbreaking, but it was also like there was still a small part of me that like kind of chuckled, because I was like, this is the joke we're doing this episode. Like,
yeah, no, I think it's playing on like dramatic irony or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the fact that this show has never really showed us, so besides from the one time travel episode, it's never really showed us them bonding together. So even we don't have like the actual memories of this. Like the whole idea of a father-son relationship between Avocado and Little Kato doesn't exist.
So I don't think, I agree that they haven't like shown enough to get the audience attached to like their relationship, like in like a present sense. But I do think the season's put in the work to like Little Kato's grief over Avocado. Like,
sure.
Yeah.
That he's been affected by it. But I mean, more like it represents the fact that like Avocado has can't remember it at all, because we think it can't remember it.
Yeah, it's a commentary on the show. Yeah. I think we're mostly playing on Little Kato's perspective and the work we put in with him this season. I think it's pretty effective what we're doing with him. Although it's very fast. I'd like some time for him to reflect. Maybe I don't know if we'll get that, or we'll just move very fast paced plot into more stuff. But not that I'm opposed to that after we had a quiet first half of the season. Avocado remembers stuff about like with the Lord Commander. He has this memory of the these the clear water and the dimension pools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Order of the 12. He goes there with the Lord Commander. I was very excited to see the Order of the 12 back, actually. That was like one episode from last season, and I thought that was like one of their most intriguing sci-fi concepts we've done. So I'd love to see if the Order of the 12 was like a bigger part of the show. But yeah, the Order of the 12 person like points them to the the Clearwater portal, which is like a window to other dimensions, and then they go there with Gary, and Gary like drinks the water to after going over the waterfall. I don't know the waterfall, but there's a waterfall too, and the point is Gary's in the portal after drinking the liquid space-time. And then we get this dark stuff. So Olin was really hyping this episode as like the darkest episode of Final Space. I guess like, Gary and Avocato both get like shot a bunch of times. So that's pretty dark. And then
Yeah.
and also Gary just sees a lot of creepy stuff in the dimension stuff. First we see the formless creatures of the dark. They want Gary to climb the corpse tree. I thought that was fun. And
that
Also
wasn't really
horrifying.
scary. It was just kind of fun because Gary's like back talking them the whole time, so it
It's
makes
scary.
it feel a little more chill.
I think the aesthetic they had of like dark and creepy, but also like the cynical humor of the show playing on top of that, I think that was pretty effective. I feel like the show could do more like horror element stuff, and it would succeed like it does in this episode.
That would be exciting. I'd watch that.
Yeah, I feel like this was a good this was a good pilot for the horror Final Space season. We could do more with that. We also get Phil. Yeah. Phil's my favorite part of this episode.
He has the best voice.
He does. Who voiced him?
I don't know.
I
We
don't
gotta look at that.
know.
Phil, he will always help his pocket peepers.
Yeah.
Her little baby hands.
Baby hands.
Yeah, it was just stupid. It was like this is great. This is Final Space. This is great. I loved Phil. There's no point, but
It does. Is Phil? So that made me wonder because we have that one character who has all of those hands everywhere.
oh,
So-
you see a connection.
Yeah, is there
Oh.
a connection
Mm.
between the two of them? Because
Okay.
that's a lot of
Maybe?
hands.
Wow. So that's his like child. Is all the baby hands there?
He keeps them in there
Ew.
in his pocket
Yeah.
for safekeeping.
Is there a butt hand in Phil's pocket?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. It's true. And then we get Gary sucked into this portal, talking to Quinn, and Quinn's back. This is a big thing. We haven't seen Quinn in a long time,
Yeah.
except for
was-
Nightfall, which it looks exactly like Quinn, but
Right.
She has white streaks in her hair. That's the difference.
And some scars.
were we happy
And
to see
scars.
Quinn here?
I guess. I don't know.
Me too.
Like, okay, we didn't really. I mean, we got Quinn last season, and she was kind of a character, but she wasn't really. And then she's been gone like the entirety of this season, and all that I guess we really have of her this season is just that Gary's trying to rescue her from Final Space, and then like we get her, but it's like so short, and I mean, like. I'm happy that Gary got to speak to her if it was actually her, but I'm also not unconvinced that they were just trying to lure like Gary or anybody to like the whatever world they were in so that Invictus could like possess them kind of thing.
Yeah,
So-
the theory that this isn't Quinn, I think it could still be Quinn, and it still could be a trap from Invictus. Like Invictus
both.
allowed the message to go out in order to draw,
Mm-hmm.
to draw him. And I feel like it's maybe more of that. But I guess like regardless of what, it could be fake Quinn, but it doesn't matter in this specific episode because Gary thinks it's real Quinn. But maybe we'll see more of that. Will Gary make it to Final Space? Not just in like this window portal. Like, will he get there by the end of the season? I don't know. That could be.
But the other thing that's, I guess, like, interesting about that is that, like, she's sending out this message, but then she's also like, you shouldn't have come
Don't
here.
come here. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so confusing to me. It's like, why would you send a message? Because usually when you send messages, people go where the message is
Okay,
from,
so
Quinn.
it's true, but as Quinn sees, there's every single like other type of Gary in all the other alternate dimensions. All the alternate Garys always come to her, so she's trying to be like, I know you're going to come because every other Gary's come, so don't come. Like she needs to send a message out, or else he's gonna come because she's seen all the other Gary stuff.
I don't think they came. No, they didn't. I don't think they came for her. I think it was just because like she's in the dimension where all the other Garys.
Oh, that's true.
Who
That's
used
true.
to be the one to sacrifice.
All the other Garys
were
sacrifice
in.
themselves. You're
Yeah.
right.
Exactly. Like none of the Garys can come fight her because they're already dead.
So still, okay. Same concept. She knows Gary always ends up dying, so she's worried about that, and she's like, "Don't go. Stay away from the danger." Like,
but she also knows that, like,
she knows Gary.
Yeah, she knows Gary, and she she knows, like, she knows that if she had sent a message and he would have received it, that he would go after her. Like, I mean, he did that in the first season whenever he got her distress call, and she didn't even know who he was. Like, so I would like to believe that she knows Gary much more than her sending a message telling him not to come. Like, she knows he'll come no matter what, even if she sends the message. In fact, like probably sending the message only, like, sped this up versus, like, inhibiting it. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, look, ultimately it doesn't matter. Like, Gary's obviously going to go after Quinn no matter what.
Yeah.
So whatever. Yeah.
No matter what. But this, like...
It's not whatever, Dylan, because it's like, well, why did we bring her back for a cameo if it wasn't going to change anything? To reinforce the inevitable? But, like, what new information does that tell us? That doesn't make sense.
I think that there is a possible interpretation that this is only for the purpose of reminding us that Gary's whole thing is, I want Quinn. There's really no other point to the show other than I gotta get to Quinn. That's
not true, though, because, he's been supportive of all these characters having their own episodes.
And then he abandoned his
Gary's
quest for
supportive of them
Quinn.
getting their episodes.
Yes, but he also abandoned his quest for Quinn to go save Avocato. Like,
he did do
literally
that. Yeah,
said,
that was a big thing
they were
last
like,
episode.
if you do this, you can't go save Quinn. And he was like, all right, let's go get Avocato. So he already abandoned his quest.
He's still going to try.
He's still going to try, but we can't...
Look, so basically, I'll say, if Quinn's coming in the finale in, like, a major way, and the finale's kind of revolving around Final Space and Quinn, then, we need to prime the audience for that, because it's been too long. So I think this serves ramping us up for some big finale thing.
I hope it does, because
I also think it was. I thought it was like a good moment on its own. I thought there was a lot of drama there.
It was drama, but it was very trite drama. I mean, because it's all about, like, oh, Gary, like, don't do the thing. He's like, oh, I'm gonna do it because I love you. I literally sent you a message saying not to. Yeah, but well, I'm still gonna come.
Stay away from you.
That was like the whole point.
So,
I mean, already know that.
I mean, so you have to get Invictus into Gary, so you need to go to Final Space. I think seeing all the dead Garys, that was, like, really affecting. That was another really dark part of the episode. So I really like that. I agree Quinn on her own isn't, we're not too attached to this relationship. So this doesn't, although I think, like, it is one of the bigger things in the show still, even though Quinn hasn't been on the show in a while. Like, that's just one of the things they've spent the most time on in the series run, Gary and Quinn. And, we see it's not just Quinn, we see Quinn, we see Final Space, we get Invictus there. So we're all kind of, I think we're getting, like, a preview of all this. And then Invictus takes the tangible form. And so he's actually affecting the plot in real time. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Why do we need to do anything? Like, everything is just happening. That was, like, my original point, like, so if the question is, like, why are we seeing Quinn was, I don't know. It was nice, whatever. That's my reaction to that.
She's still a character. She's not dead. Like,
it is a good point. How is she alive in Final Space?
Yes, floating around.
I really like the idea that April threw out earlier of, like, this Quinn being kind of bait being used by Invictus for
Invictus could be keeping Quinn alive to use as bait, yeah.
Oh my god. So she was just a damsel the whole season, we just didn't know till this episode then? If her whole point was to be alert, that's what that means then. And don't you tell me
the show hasn't done that yet, so we're speculating.
Whatever. Because that's not good.
Okay,
I hope that's not it.
Michelle doesn't like that idea. Okay, we'll see.
I don't
We'll
either.
see.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
That's something that we've argued with about, like, Quinn's character since the show began. Like,
It takes away the whole agency of her being able to make the decision to go into final space. That was like her taking destiny into her own hands instead of waiting behind like every other time they tried it. But then now it's all like, oh, just kidding, she can't do anything. It's all up to Gary again.
That's a good point. That if they did this, that would like defeat the purpose of the great stuff they did in the finale. So let's not do that. Probably if they do it, there's going to be like
maybe that's what happens.
There's going to be some wrinkles. If they do that, it'll be some wrinkles to it. So we'll see. Then Quinn will be the one that saves the day in the finale. She'll break out. It'll be like a twist. Invictus was using her as bait, and then it's like, oh, she had the upper end the whole time, and she was planning something, and her plan goes into action. Like, I could see something like that.
I mean, that would be lovely. I honestly am not expecting that, though.
Yeah. I'm not going to hold my
honestly, I mean, I know I'm saying this a lot, but who's expecting anything at this point? I mean, I feel like it's really hard to speculate about the show because they're going to add.
Well, it's hard to speculate about the overarching plot of what the show is going to do, but I do think there is basis to have low expectations with regards to Quinn as a character. Yeah. Like that. That's specifically
previous episodes.
Yeah, we've had a lot of instances at this point. You're right that like we can't predict story details because we keep adding mythology, and so that like keeps throwing you for a loop. But I mean, I'm in agreement that I would be very worried if like we're gonna integrate Quinn back in. Like there's just like so much baggage already that you can easily bring us back to some like whirlpool of nonsense.
Right. So yeah, I agree that like we should be skeptical of what we're doing with Quinn, considering the show wasn't great with it in season 1. That being said, at the end of season 1, I was like, one of the biggest things we need to do is not do Quinn and Gary again, and they really haven't. So I mean, they solved it by writing Quinn out, but like the show has not repeated the mistakes of season 1 so far. So we'll see. We'll see. It was nice to see Quinn. Okay, so then
I don't know. I'm glad she's not dead, but I don't know how.
That's good. Alive. Probably she's not dead unless that's fake Quinn, but we'll see. Then, the Gary gets possessed, and April had nightmares about it, and then Avocato.
He just looked so creepy.
It was really creepy. This whole episode is really creepy. I thought it was good. Avocato is then possessed and shoots Gary, and Little Cato is forced to shoot his dad. Man, sad.
I saw that coming.
Yeah. It's the most dramatic thing. And this episode does a lot with the drama of like Gary taking over as Little Cato's dad for Avocato.
That's what like Invictus was like whispering to him inside of his head. Yeah. So, but I mean, at the same time, like, you'd been dead, Avocato.
Yeah, like, come on, man. You're not in the picture.
Yeah. And you only just regained your memories of your son. I don't think you have a right to be upset.
The specifics, but I guess the general emotional concept of like Gary fills the void in Avocato's life, but then the person he's filling the void for comes back, so that creates an inherent drama I think that they're playing on here. And we take that with the form of him being possessed by a demon god thing, and So, but it's in a basic story form. I think that checks out what we're doing. It's presented in this crazy way, like the show does. But I think that's a good thing if the show's going to anchor its crazy mythology jumps in some understandable kind of character drama. Like that's probably good. And then so that's why I guess you do the possession thing. I don't know. So we'll see with Avocato. We all think he's alive. Will he stay possessed by Invictus? Probably. I think that's what we're doing. Yep. Yeah. So, will we see that next episode? We'll see. What else from the non-Tribore stuff before we get into that?
I don't know if this is like a big thing, but is there any with the introduction of possession by Invictus? Is it possible that Lord Commander was possessed the entire first season?
I saw a theory about that from somewhere. Yeah, that
I could see that. That would explain like why he's such a completely different person than from how Gary's dad knew him.
Yes, that's true. I remember that. I'm like, oh, that hasn't been a thing in a while.
So, like, surely that, like, I mean, that would explain it, especially if like given what Invictus was doing to like Avocato and the fact that he was sort of amplifying those feelings of like, I guess, resentment towards Gary. So that would explain Lord Commander, like, easily. I don't know what resentment he has, but it's fine.
Yeah. And I saw some post by Olin on Reddit or something at some point indicated Invictus is like the series long villain. So I think it would make sense if he was in play in season 1 and we just didn't know it. I guess he's the hand that takes the birth. So
yeah.
I could see that would be interesting. Bring Lord Commander back into the mix. We saw more Lord Commander this episode. That was fun too.
I kind of miss him. He's
Me
a better
too.
villain than all the other villains we've had going on this season.
I mean, we haven't really had a consistent villain.
The red guy, yeah, and now possessed Kato. I mean,
yeah,
Lord
this is his
Commando's
breakout
better.
episode, so we'll see him. Lord Commander, I do miss Lord Commander too. Yeah, we had the Hugh Clarence stuff. I have no comments on that. Alex, was it nice to see Hugh stand up for himself? And
Who? Wait.
Oh.
his Hubie Doobie.
Oh God.
Oh my god.
Hugh, he's still sad. He's still depressed.
But he has his big moment.
Yeah, he does. But like, also, Clarence is a real asshole. So it's like anybody would do that in their situation. So like, good for Hugh. But like, also at the same time, just the only thing that sticks in my head is at the like in the beginning, it's like, well, when will someone fits Hugh?
Oh my god.
That's
yeah.
a summary of his character this season.
Yeah. And so that's why like it's getting hard to even remember like what he does in the episodes, because like the only time he shows up is just to be, like, depressed.
They've kind of just
sad
made one joke with Hugh the entire season, I feel like.
Yeah. So like it's I love him. He's great, but also like, I wish he could do more.
Yeah, I think Hugh's one of the biggest sufferers from the crowding that we've had, because he only has enough time to do the same joke, and we haven't had time to explore more things with him. Also, Mooncake, who doesn't talk here, but yeah. Yeah, okay, and there's other people who do other, the memory sticks thing in the beginning, the whipping, I thought that was fun. Yeah.
It was fun?
It was fun.
It was.
Okay.
A good old-fashioned memory whipping, yeah, that's fun.
I mean,
I thought it was like a good like way to have everyone together, because that's kind of what like that beginning little bit always
bring everyone together by
the
the
new
whipping.
version of playing that game together is the whipping
it really
of
is.
avocado.
There's just something about like making one of the traits of Clarence being a sexual deviance that's like very like.
It checks out to me. It really does.
It checks out, but like also like the whole idea of joking about the S&M stuff. Like, I don't know. It just it feels off for me.
I'm tired of
I did appreciate that when it was Fox's turn, he's like, I'm really upset you don't remember me, but you also don't know me. Like,
yeah, you should.
I'm glad that we at least like recognize.
At least we address that. Yeah, it's true. Okay. Okay, we need to talk about Tribore and the B plot here.
Okay.
Yes.
We're bringing in Shannon.
Shannon T, his least favorite of the two Shannons.
I was hoping it was Shannon L. Yeah. This is a really good scene when they're going back and forth about the resistance, the rebellion, and don't tell me it's the insurrection. Like, I thought like, this is like an epitome of what they're doing with the resistance plotline, parodying those types of sci-fi things, and they had a great exchange with that. And she like confesses her love to Tribore.
We already knew that, though.
I guess she hadn't told Tribore before,
She hadn't
though?
told into his face.
Yeah.
So we get the stunning conclusion to this hanging cliffhanger from before, where she loved Tribore.
Also, I thought she was dead.
Yeah, she was also one of the people, right, that seemed like they died in the finale. So I don't know, but everyone's alive from the finale. That's fine. And Tribore's in love with himself, and we learn that every 6 months their gender changes from male to female, and they're in love with each other. But I've only got one set of goods at a time, so I'm friends with myself without benefits. It's tearing me apart, Shannon. Yes, the room
the
reference.
best line.
That is the best part, yeah.
Yes.
And so okay, let's talk this part. So Tribore also calls himself the some patron saint of the unbinary earlier, as one of his titles. So yeah, it interesting gender stuff we're doing with Tribore here, Michelle. Do you have takes on this?
I mean, it all checks out to me. I enjoyed spending time with him, but I will say, like, the juxtaposition of this playing out for so long in the episode versus the little avocado stuff, it did, I think, in some ways make it harder to take the full drama of the father-son dynamic seriously. We kept jumping back to this. So maybe that's a little unfortunate, but, like, Tribore on his own was great.
Okay, so you were into what we're doing with this.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I think it makes so much sense that, like, he's just so in love with himself, but also it's fraught with him not being able to be two versions of himself at the same time. And the fact that Shannon got to go on a date with him by wearing a mirror so he could pretend he was with his other self, like, that's amazing. It was great.
Okay, yeah, it certainly makes sense for this character, I would say.
Yes.
April, what was your reaction to this plotline?
I agree with Michelle that, like, I wish that we had done it at a different time and not trying to, like, mix it in with all of the other, like, darker stuff that we were, like, touching on in this episode. I don't know, like, it was, I guess, like, it's good to love yourself, so that's a good message. But I don't know, like, the whole thing with Shannon and, like, the mirror, I was like, this is a little much. So I don't know. I like it. I just have it. Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, and Alex, you said you were maybe similar to April, unsure reaction to this.
Right, yeah, like my initial reaction was, why are we doing this with him?
Why
and,
not, Alex? That's the obvious.
Well, look, and look, after thinking it through, I think I figured out, like, what's my issue here. It's if you're listening to this podcast, you probably enjoy adult animation, so it's possible you may have also watched BoJack Horseman. BoJack Horseman does a somewhat similar thing where it explores a different sexual orientation for a character, in this case, asexuality with Todd. But but Todd is the most comedic character of the cast. It introduces it in a very comedic and silly way, so it's kind of hard to give it the seriousness it deserves. And I feel like it's a similar situation that I feel with Tribore, where it's like, this is like the first time we're touching on, like, different sexuality in this show, and we're doing it with the silliest, least serious character possible. We're introducing it in such an over-the-top silly way. So, like, I like that it's exploring different identities, but I also feel weird that, like, the first exposure to it that we have is with the one character that we take the least seriously in the entire show. So, like, that kind of, like, inner that's part of why I feel confused about how to feel about it, because, like, on its face, it's like, oh, okay, this is a ridiculous thing because it's Tribore. Like, who? Of course, he has something stupid like this. Like, that's how it feels like it's being portrayed to me, and I feel like it should be treated a little bit more seriously than that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that, that's putting it into better words than I obviously did. But also, I think the thing with him, like, changing his gender every 6 months, like, it also adds to that, like, I don't, like, it's so, like, non-committal.
Well, no, like, that's, like, an interesting idea that you could explore, that, like, he changes his identity, and that's, like, a thing, like, transitioning, like, that's a whole thing in real life that you could infuse into this character, but we treat it with such, like, this, like, as this, like, high comedy, so, like, it feels like you could treat it in a serious way, but instead it's portrayed as a joke. So
Yeah, so this is good. I think we're on the right track with this, and this. I mean, I don't know. What do you even say about it? I was, like, pissed off at this at first. I guess my reaction was, like, I thought we were doing like, portraying Tribore's non-binary, and I was like, this is not good non-binary representation. That was when I first watched the episode, and the specific part that pissed me off was, and so I'm gonna have commentary on the gender aspect of this. I think this is more of a gender thing with Tribore than a sexuality thing. Although there's both components because he's in love with himself. Tribore says, I've only got one set of goods at a time, so I'm friends with myself without benefits. That line was like, why is this so binary with the like, it feels like, oh, sometimes I'm male, sometimes I'm female, and I have like these genitals then, these genitals then. I don't know. Like, that was like, this doesn't line up with anything. I feel like this felt, it just felt very gender binary if we're trying to portray something non-binary to me. That was my initial reaction. On second viewing, I think like, and Tribore himself says unbinary. So I read that as non-binary at first, and it's kind of confusing. I think this second watching, I think this is more of a gender fluid presentation. Obviously it's like, an alien thing, and it's sci-fi, and I do think it's valid to explore fanciful, like orientation, and I don't know if fanciful's right, but like fantasy, like, orientation and gender expressions that would only apply to like aliens and stuff. I think that's like in play in shows like this. So I'm not like pissed off at that very concept, but, yeah, I don't know. I guess this is some sort of gender fluid presentation. But it is through the lens of something that feels very gender binary to me, you know, like sometimes I'm male, sometimes I'm female. I don't know, like, we didn't even spend a second talking about, you know, any other aspect, like, and it's felt like genitals always connected to gender. And if it just felt very grounded in a narrow definition of gender to me. And I think we could have done more interesting things that would have been more progressive if we broke out of that slightly. Not that it's invalid if someone were to feel this way. If Tribore is valid for feeling this way, of course. I think the presentation the show has of it, it feels very binary. And so second viewing, I think it's okay. I think maybe the bigger or other point is what Alex said, which is like, this is not a good first different sexuality or gender presentation in the show. This is presented as a jokey thing. Everything's a joke in Final Space, but it's, it would have been good if we recently had this with Young Justice. Why are you doing this first? Let's do something else first. And then Young Justice eventually does something good. Yeah, it's just immediately to something much better. It's like, you should have reversed those. So maybe we'll get something better. So here's Olin commenting on Reddit, because the great thing about Final Space is we will immediately get commentary from the creator on things that are happening.
It's so nice.
It actually is like so refreshing. No other show we don't hear anything from any creators. Olin says, hey, what's up? Olin here. Okay. Tribore and Clarence are not good enough representation for the LGBTQ community. There's a gay character on the show, but we just haven't revealed it yet. Then he deleted this next part, by the way, but we got a screen cap. It's right under everyone's noses, really, but will be in a season 3. And then he continued. And truthfully, that character needs to be worthy of the title and actually useful. It's a sci-fi show, and there are more sexualities out there in the universe, but I always saw Clarence as a bisexual and Tribore as a narcissexual, completely made up fictional sexuality, loves himself a little too much. Hope it makes sense. Promise it's coming, but needs to be done right. Okay. So Olin promises, this is the classic, a gay character's coming, don't worry. We've heard this a lot.
Is it gonna be Fox? Like, who would it possibly be?
Okay, but I want to get to that in a second. But first of all, the concept of, I guess we could get to that. But yeah, Olin says, the broad point of like, what we've got here is not good enough representation being acknowledged immediately. That's good. Like, yes. Do you agree? So, that's step one, and then not that this stuff with Tribore is necessarily, I had some issues with it, but it's not like invalid. It's just like we could have other things too, and Tribore being narcissexual. I focused on the gender aspect of it. This like fictional sexuality where you love yourself. I think that's it's not a good first thing to show, but I think that's a fine like sci-fi concept to explore. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Okay, so who's gay is now we get to play. I feel like we've played this with half the shows we've covered. It's like a gay character's coming. Who's gay? This always happens.
So does that mean we're getting no? Because he said it's right under our
your
nose.
So I feel like he edited out that part right under everyone's noses because maybe we shouldn't be talking about it, but because you could interpret it as a new character, but in season 3. But if it's under everyone's noses, then it's probably a character we know already.
Yeah.
But like who?
Right. First, you jump to like Fox or Ash, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't really know them.
But I think that would be unsatisfying for each one. I mean,
maybe
Ash,
it's
if
Kevin.
Ash was.
Oh my god! It would check out if it's Kevin.
Explain this.
Because he already
Kevin
loves
capable
Gary.
of love.
He loves Gary. It's just
But
really
that just means he's Gary sexual.
No,
He's
I
very
think
sexual.
Kevin is
he
Gary
loves
sexual.
multiple things,
Does
but
he?
Gary's just the ultimate.
Also,
Now-
first, Kevin would not one of my contenders here.
I
but
think Kevin could totally be the gay
I'm not surprised
person
we went here.
Owen is talking about.
Kevin's a robot.
It's gonna be like Ava.
Okay.
I mean, it's Jane Lynch, so yeah, that makes sense. But then why would she hook up with Hugh in like a fake?
That was like
they're genderless AIs, like it's
But she had this episode. She's like, "I'm impressed, Hugh. Like, why is she impressed if she's gay? I don't know about that."
be impressed with someone if you're not attracted.
That's the rule,
Yeah.
Dylan. You just can't be.
Let me just throw out the pessimistic view. The worst character you could do that with is Clarence, right? Because
Owen in the post says
literally just
Clarence
said
is
he's
bisexual.
Yeah, he says Clarence isn't good enough here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I'm just saying
That would be the worst,
They
yeah.
portrayed him as a sexual deviant so far, so like it'd be
Yeah.
a very, very bad form to make him the gay character.
Yeah, and I think Owen's saying like we kind of understand that's why we're not focusing on that aspect of Clarence. Gary could be bi, Quinn could be bi, either one of them could be gay, because of course, as always, even if someone displays attraction to the opposite gender, doesn't mean they're not homosexual, because people can discover things about them afterwards. That happens to real people. I think I know who this is.
Who?
Tell us.
I believe it's Little Cato.
Really?
And I actually think this is the best case scenario, because I think Little Cato is the best character on the show. I think it would be a fantastic plot line to have him it always pisses me off when shows are like, we'll get there eventually in terms of having a gay character. It's like you show straight people right away, you can show gay people right away too. But if it's a kid and he's learning things about himself, then that kind of actually makes sense to me.
That would be very I don't know, brave. Is that the right word? I don't know. That would be. It would be exciting to explore that.
So here's my evidence. As we speak, Olin is having an AMA on Reddit, as if he doesn't always have
You
an
just
AMA.
follow this stuff, Dylan.
He's
Also,
tweeting about it.
Why would he do an AMA if he responds to comments all the time?
We love it. It's great.
What's the point?
So one of the questions was, are Little Cato and Ash ever going to get together? And surprisingly, Olin answered, I don't think they ever will. I think they're just going to be really good friends, happy face. Which is interesting, because Ash clearly has a crush on Little Cato earlier this season.
But yeah, that adds credence to the Little Cato is
right.
gay.
Well, he would say that if Little Cato is going to be gay later. So,
Right.
And this actually be extremely spoilers for season 3 of Stranger Things. Skip 1 minute ahead. This would be very similar to what they did in season 3 of Stranger Things with Steve and Robin, where it's like, oh, it's a romance, it's a crush. Steve is a crush, but then it's like Ash is a crush, but no, actually one of them is gay, and they just had a bond that they're developing the whole time. I feel like that's what we're doing with Ash and Little Cato, and I think that'd be fantastic.
I think that would be nice.
Yeah, I'd be super into that.
Okay,
Then
that's
Then
my
they get to know
optimistic
each
view.
other as people, and the dumb romance won't be their entire relationship. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Also, Little Cato just learned about puberty this season.
Yes.
He's figuring things out. I'm telling you, this is my big theory here. I don't know, but maybe it's Kevin though. Maybe it's.
Maybe it's both of them. Maybe that's the real.
What if everyone's just gay on the show? That would be good.
Really
And
nice.
then
What if it's Invictus? Have we considered Invictus?
No, but maybe.
Gary
Down.
Okay. The closing out the Tribore stuff. We did the mirror date, and then Tribore says, "I named myself Tribore because even if I tried to bore you, I can't. I'm too interesting."
I love that this is his name origin. Is so I never expected to get it, but it just checks out
So stupid.
completely. Buy it 100%. Tribore. It's in the name.
It's a pretty iconic quote from Tribore about that. It's like, were you holding on to this whole time?
Yes.
right?
Should be try hard.
He's trying too hard?
Yeah.
No. I
But
don't know about that.
even
He's
if
accomplishing a lot as the resistance leader.
Yeah.
He's trying
Sure.
an appropriate amount. Okay. So I thought that was great. Okay. Michelle, anything else from this episode? Closing thoughts.
I hope Little Cato's gay now. That's all.
Okay, I'm glad I sold you on it.
I'm like pretty sure Kevin might just be gay, so that's fine. We don't need.
You are the expert. I'll trust you. If you say Kevin's probably gay, I'm going to trust you on this.
I mean, that fridge didn't count because it didn't have a gender. They just put lips and eyeballs on it. Like,
that's true. The fridge is good. Fridge is good kind
that
of evidence.
does not really count. He's just mimicking Gary because he doesn't know what his feelings mean. But I understand them for you, Kevin. It's okay.
I understand.
That's my closing thoughts.
Okay, that's good.
What if Hugh and Kevin explore their sexualities together?
Okay, Alex, close it. Alex, what is your closing thoughts?
Sorry.
Talk about that.
At a higher level than Hugh this season.
Okay.
He's helped way more. I'm sorry, Alex, but I cannot let that happen.
Wow.
I can't.
Michelle, did you know did you know there's like a portion of the fandom that just hates Kevin? Like, I didn't know this. People think Kevin's like, why is he on the show? He's so useless to the crew.
Oh my god, that just fills me with more joy. That means it's not boring, right? You did a good job of either you really love a character or really hate them.
That's good.
If you just can't care less, that's when you're really doomed. So thank God Kevin's not there.
Thank God people hate Kevin.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back to April. April, what are your final thoughts here?
Final thoughts on Final Space.
Yes.
I don't know. Bring on the creepy. Let's do more creepy things. And I also really hope that Lil Kato is gay.
April says more creeps, more gay.
Yep.
That's a good.
But hopefully not creepy gays.
Yeah, I mean I guess that's what we're doing with Clarence, and that's why it's not good. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Alex, final thoughts.
So the Gary and Avocado go to this place called Clearwater to go to this weird dimension. Clearwater, Florida is the headquarters of Scientology, and Scientology is a cult.
No!
And cults possess people, just like Invictus possessed Gary and then Avocado in here. So I really think that Final Space is kind of a big old metaphor about how cults destroy society, and we should be afraid of them.
Was this on Reddit or something, Alex?
No, this was all in my brain.
You just know about Clearwater, Florida? You look up Scientology on your own time?
No comment.
All right, then.
I see. I thought of the Justin Bieber song "Cold Water." I thought it was Major Lazer.
Scientology is just
wow.
That's what I was
Look
thinking.
at like the different levels of thinking that we've got going on here. It's
Clearly,
like,
I'm not on
high,
Alex's level.
High level, like religion affecting society. Like,
I thought the
like
name of the song was Clearwater. It's Cold Water. Yeah. So yeah, Major Lazer feat Justin Bieber. Yeah, that's great.
Shout out to Leah
is-
Remini's special on the Jehovah's Witnesses. But anyways,
Is Invictus trying to spread the good word
of the bees.
no, that's
of the beings of Scientology. Which one? That's the real
Yeah, what are you talking?
Quinn is the lure that Invictus is using, just like Scientology lures people in with like wanting to test their Thetans levels or something.
You have to pay for that.
Exactly, and Gary has to pay with his life to see Quinn.
No, you have to pay money. They don't care about your life. They want your money.
That's true.
Metaphors, theater of the mind.
It just makes me think of how there was like this huge Scientology like church in St. Louis, and like I always wanted to go in and just test and just see, but
that's how they get you. It's
but
just
that's how they get
curiosity,
you.
you know?
So I never did it, and I don't live there anymore. So thank goodness.
Yeah, so avoid Clearwater, you guys. It looks tempting, and you may want to touch your loved ones again after missing them for years, but don't fall for it.
Okay.
There you go. I had all other commentary on the second thing that I wasn't liking about the season.
Right.
We'll save it because I'm sure that'll happen again. So we'll see in future episodes of Final Space. I don't know. Did we get a preview for next week? I don't even see it.
I
didn't.
I don't think so.
It's too.
Yeah, they don't want to
top
spoil
secret.
it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see next time. Well, I think we have the episode titles. That's okay. Well, next week's Final Space, we'll be back to talk about it. Let us know what you thought of our great serious discussions on The Closer You Get, overlyanimated.com, youtube.com/overlyanimated, or Discord at overlyanimated.com/Discord. I think our Final Space channel is heating up a little bit with a lot of discussions. That's good. People
Is
excited
it?
about Final Space. Mostly just a handful of people. That's okay.
Oh.
And it's come talk Final Space there. Come support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Michael, aka Mickey, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatrice, Hugh, Michael, and Needle. Yes, we'll be back next week for next week's Final Space, and we have a bunch of other stuff going on at overlyanimated.com, including soon the Young Justice finale, which I brought up earlier and I think is relevant to this audience. Also saw a Final Space fan who's like, should I get into She-Ra? So yes, you should get into She-Ra. We're talking about that show too. Fruits Basket coverage, OKKO, Rocco's Modern Life. There's a bunch of stuff happening. Find 12 Forever's coming soon. Find all that at overlyanimated.com. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Watch out.